Hey guys, new video here. Today, I'd like to talk about new player tips. I'll try to keep the video short, even though it probably won't be. Three things. Number one, I get asked a lot, what maps do I favorite? Why? Which maps should you favorite if you're a noob? How do you sell these maps? All that good stuff, right? Then I want to talk about like prepping your delirious maps if you're running certain zones that can add deli to your maps, delirium. And then I guess an overall theme of like, how do you value your time? Right, because there's a lot of discussion in chat sometimes and amongst like the community, and like, is this good? Like, is this worth my time? I don't want to feel like my time's wasted. Should I do this? Should I upgrade this or that? Should I run this or that? How do I make the best use of my time? So I can't cover all of that because it takes too long, right? I don't even know all the answers to all that stuff. But I can tell you maybe like a small subsection of that, and I'll go over in terms of my character. And then maybe you can like draw some insight from that and then like take that forward, right? So we'll start with like the easiest stuff, I guess. These are one takes, so if I mess up, I miss anything, my bad. It might happen. So actually, like for the mapping, right? So how do you favorite a map? What does the favoriting do? Is it worth doing? And how do you pick your maps if you're a noob, right? So if you look up here, you can just start reading some of the whispers I get. So I usually spend a few hours after stream doing I call it administrative time, which means I'm kind of playing the game, but I'm not. I'm just like organizing stash tabs, cleaning up stash tabs, doing trades, stuff like that. And really like lots of these trades here revolve around bulk maps. Okay, so I usually after every stream, I will sell every park map. I will sell every summit map if I have them. I will try to sell tower maps. And then I will sell any maps I see on PoE Ninja that are going for a decent amount for now, but like they're not really like the norm. I'll try to just make a ton of C off that, because you're going to need the C, okay, for lots of things like scarabs and all that stuff. So let's get into favoriting maps. So you'll see these three circles. A lot of people don't even know about these circles if you just start playing the game, because they won't be unlocked. The circles are a favoriting system. You can have three of the same map in the circles, as you can see here. For me, I have favorited Atoll, I favorited Park, I favorited Tower, and I favorited Canyon. When you favorite a map, what it does is it takes that map, instead of being let's say like a T14 drops, right, randomly in like some chest or something, and instead of like this fields here, instead of being 1 divided by every other 14 that could drop, it changes it into a base 10 weighting, meaning that it's no longer 1 divided by all the other 14s, it is now 10 divided by all the other 14s. You can see how this works. It makes it just more likely to drop. If you favorite twice or 3 times, then same thing. Base 20, base 30, okay? To the point where like if you type in tier 16, right, and you can see there's like not that many. Maybe there's like 30, maybe there's like 30, 25, 30 tier 16s. To the point, let's say there's 30 for easy math, right? To the point where if you were to favorite, like I'm favoriting Park. So Park, it usually would be like 1 out of 30, right? Not that great of a chance to drop, but if you favorite 3 times, it's base 30 out of the other 29 maps. So it's the chance to drop it if a T16 drops, okay, given we're not counting any other Atlas rules like connectors and extra bonus drops, stuff like that. Your chance to drop is 30 divided by 59. Makes sense? Okay. So that's like super, super important, okay? So you will drop a massive amount of the map that you like, that you have specifically chosen, if you do this favoring system. And it is also a source of making money. So common question I get is like, why did you favorite your maps? Which map should I favorite? So number one, my number one theme is always to try to have fun. If you love a map, okay, for me, I don't like lava chambers. When I play lava chambers, I want to uninstall the game and I want to go play like the Fortnite or like World of Warcraft or something, okay? I really hate lava chambers. I just don't like the doorway. I don't like the layout. I don't like how I miss monsters. I have to backtrack. Sometimes I may like miss an entire section. All the league mechanics are pretty garbage in it. But if you love lava chambers for any reason at all, or you love any map, just go and favor that map. It's not really a big deal. You will end up like really enjoying your playtime. You'll play more, which is more quantity. You'll make more money. Okay, that's like the number one rule. After that, you might start thinking about the actual game mechanics. So is it a good layout, right? Is it a good layout for my build, especially? Does it drop anything of value? Now, this could be things like maybe it has a divination card, right? Maybe it has some base items, right? Maybe you find that like on that map the rituals are good. More on that later. I think T16 rituals are bugged, by the way. So any of these little minutiae you can look up on the PoE wiki, the map, to see div cards, things like that, base drops, all this kind of stuff. Okay, you can favorite a map because of that, or you can favorite a map in most of my cases it is to sell. Okay, so I'm going to explain what I mean. Let me bring up my Chrome browser here. Wasn't really prepared here. Give me one moment. I'm going to bring up a site called PoE Ninja. And PoE Ninja, what it is a website that has a kind of it kind of aggregates all the data for sales or listings of those commodities, right? You can look at all the commodities on the left side that you can choose from and list them in an easy to view structure. Now, keep in mind that on PoE Ninja, the prices you see are, although they are fairly accurate, they are a little bit behind, and they don't reflect things like bulk. Like price fixing sometimes can be indicated by this green bar here, but just it's a little bit within a percentage of error. Okay, so be careful with it, but for the most part it is a good resource, like a good barometer for which direction the market is headed, right, for maps and stuff like that. So let's take a look here. So what you're gonna do is you're gonna click on maps if you don't know, and then you're gonna go to normal, because you don't care about blighted, right? All the blighted 14, they pretty much sell for the same thing. The normal maps, you'll look here. Don't worry about these icons here. I don't know why these icons are here, but you can see that, like, besides the shape or Jardia maps, look at this park map, an outlier. Why is this like selling for more than the Maze of the Minotaur? So what you can do is you can go here and then you can look at the tier, because you can favorite multiple tiers, right? 14, 15, and 16, whatever you want. Look at, see, like I'm trying to sell these maps. I can sell 30 cemeteries right now for 150 C. But I'm making this video, so unfortunately, Mr. Mada Yep, unfortunately, he's not gonna get the trade because I'm making this video. Okay, so you can see, like, even like off Mita, I mean, that's a pretty good map, but like you can sell a lot of maps for a lot of money very quickly. So you're gonna go to the tier that you want, and this is where you're gonna decide. Okay, and the things to notice are, like, what maps actually sell for a lot and why, right? So like Atoll, if Atoll's in the top left and Haywalk, maybe people are trying to farm the harvest there. Park map, maybe people are trying to delve real deep by just spamming the park map, getting their soul fatigue, maybe, I don't know. But I do know from looking at this and from listing my my maps, I do know that they do in fact sell. In fact, you can sell every single one of these popular maps in huge quantities, like at the end of the day, right? And what's interesting for new players, especially, to pay attention to, is that these prices are showing individuals, right? So in bulk, you can actually sell for more. So if this park map is listed for 7 right now, which is actually a pretty good price for it, because if you do your trade macro, it'll probably show you each one is 7 or 6 or 7. You can sell for a little bit more. So I would really start, if you have, let's say, 30 or more maps, 10, maybe even 20 or more maps, you can list it for 7.5, 8. If you have like 60 or more, if you have an entire page, 72 maps, maybe you have like over 100, you can sell it for maybe even like 9C each. Okay. These have gone down a little bit because I've been really promoting a lot of this, and I think a lot of people switched over after realizing how much it sells for, because in the maps you can drop so many of these, especially with cartographer scarabs, and it's like free money, right? It covers so much of the cost of your map inputs. Just drop a map and sell it. So this is going down because it's becoming more popular. So you might want to switch to like other things that are like not going down as much. But overall, everyone's like completing their atlas, so all these prices should go down slightly. Okay, I digress. The park map, if you have more, sell it for more. If it doesn't sell in, let's say you list something and it doesn't sell for like half an hour, just drop it down by 1C, drop it down by half a C, and I guarantee you that these maps, you will get spammed. Okay, so that is a way to look at selling these maps. You can scroll through here and make your own decisions. Sometimes these maps are not actually sold in bulk. So for example, I can't really imagine why someone would need a factory map at T16. I can't think of it. Maybe you guys can fill me in, but like some of these people just want for completion, because there's awakening bonus completion that people need the highest tier of the map with the awakener, like up to awakener 8. So sometimes people buy individual. So don't get debated for whatever reason. Like mineral pools is a map that is hilariously high priced in the yellow version, I believe. And so you might look at that and be like, wait a minute, like why don't I just sell mineral pools for 9 siege and just take out my watchstones and get right? Lots of these are just because people need them for completion, especially with a divine vessel, right? Getting your pantheons done. So don't get jebaited by things like that. Just go with like the standard stuff. You can kind of look at the trends here. Okay, so that's one little tip for noobs. Okay, sell your maps, and if you want to know how to sell them, one quick tip in the map tab is that might help you out is that at the end of the day, let's say I've already sold all my park maps. At the end of the day, let's say you list them for 7C, right? And you sell every single one of them. The moment the last map leaves your stash, okay? The moment that happens, right here, it'll still show it, but this is gone. So what that means is if you sell everything, please be aware that when you dump all the maps in there, if you have affinities on, this price listing will disappear. So you will have to go in there and relist it. It'll be like this. Okay, it'll be like this. It'll switch this once everything exits the tab. So what you're gonna want to do is you're gonna go in there at the end of each day and set the price again. I didn't know this for like in the first week. I was like, why is no one whispering me? And then I just realized because when you sell everything, it defaults to this. They're not listed. Okay, just a quick little note on that. Another thing to note is that when you're selling, the same rules apply. So if you want to sell a certain amount of maps for a certain amount of C, then what you're going to do is you're going to use a fraction, right? So let's say I want to sell 60. So 60, I believe, let's say that I want to sell them for 7C. So in the numerator, you will do, you want to sell 60 times 7 is 420, right? So 420. 420 in C divided by how many maps you get for that for 60. So when you do this fraction, okay, right, it's 420 C for 60 maps. That's how it works. And then if you're used to this in the currencies, it's going to be flipped. Like it'll be a less than 1 fraction because usually the smaller part of the C, you know what I mean? Okay, but for maps, you know, they're more than 1 C. So 420 C for 60 maps. You can do this if you want, but not really necessary because for the most part on the popular maps, people will know and they'll just like buy all of them. Okay, but that is one thing you can do because what this stops is like a lot of time people will whisper you and you'll think they want bulk and they'll just want one, and you're not going to leave a map especially build like this and go do like a 60 trader. Okay, you're not going to do that. You should, but like, you know, it's not really feasible sometimes. Oh, Lily's jumping on me, silly goose. Okay, so that's how to favorite maps. So I'll talk also a little bit because this is might be something of interest, like why have I favorited these? Okay, because there's a little bit more that goes into it, and maybe this will help you decide what you favorite. So I'm gonna just walk through what I favorited and why. So Atoll. The reason I favorite Atoll is number one, amazing layout map. Not very good for monsters, not very good for farming. However, it is in the Hayward Hamlet, which is very good for harvest if I eventually want to do that. You can see I have 138 Zabas banked up here, and I will be running those in this region to try to trigger harvest and get a lot of crafts, but that's later on. So I might want this because I have a few options, right? I'm kind of like hedging everything, right? If I want to sell my Atolls when I get them, I can. If I want to run them later, I can, and I will, right? If I ever want to horizon norm them into burials, I can do that too, because of T16. You know, it's just got so many good things going for it, and it's a lovely map, right? So I'm going to go ahead and favor that just to have a few options in the future. Now, Park is the big seller. I don't even know why. I think, are people running like fuel in here? I guess. Yeah, maybe they're delving and stuff. So Park is probably the best seller out of any map I've ever sold. It is ridiculous. You should probably get on it if you can drop T16s, right? Obviously, drop rules apply to these. I don't know if that needs to be said. So if you run a tier 1, you're not going to drop a T16, okay? It's just not going to happen. Yeah, you need to run at least a T14 in which the I believe that the map bosses, the unique bosses can drop it. And then a T15, obviously any rare or blue monster can drop the map, okay? And a T16, you'll get a lot more. So the reason I have favorited Park 3 times is because, you know, as a T16 here, I just know that's going to sell. I know at the end of my streams, I know every single one of them will sell for hundreds and hundreds of C, and it's a good feeling to know that you have that like bank of C coming in. So that's the only reason I've done it. I don't think I will ever run a Park map. I mean, it's a great layout. It really is. There's no elevation. Everything's either fine. Not so good for monster density and for beyond and stuff like that. Not very good div cards from what I know. And the boss is unfazed and easy to kill. So that's a plus, I guess. But really, it's for the delvers, I think. So that is the Park map right there. Now, maybe people are also doing harvest. Now I see that there is harvest here. Maybe, I don't really know, but maybe they're doing the harvest as well because it's easier to find the harvest. You just run towards the middle of the map. So that's why I favored Park, just for selling and a very reliable source of Chow's orbs. Tower, I was running Tower for a while, and I was dropping Tower. I'm like, maybe I want to run it later, but not really. Tower does sell. It's currently going for about 4C. 4C for a T14 map is incredibly good. If you sell it in bulk, sometimes on stream I was just like, I have too many. Now there's an issue if you drop too many of these, because obviously you can drop 14 to 16 if you're running T16, and you'll drop a lot of T14s, and your map inventory will fill up, and it feels kind of awkward putting the maps in another like regular tab affinity, and you're not gonna buy another map tab. I really feel like the map tab should have a scroll wheel to like have infinite maps in there, but whatever. So the tower maps on stream I might sell for like 3C, 4C, whatever. But in bulk, once again, same rules. You can sell it for usually a C more. So if you have like 60 bulk, you can probably get away with 4.5, 5C. So it's usually just for selling. People like farming nurses. It's an okay layout. It's good for all the deli, all the beyond, all that good stuff. Boss is kind of garbage, so I don't really like it. But I want a T14 because everything on this atlas is T14 to 16. So you might as well have a T14 that's favorited. I would say as a general rule, always have at least one 14, 15, 16 favorited, if not more, because if you don't, then all your 14s are like a smorgasbord of really bad maps, right? You're never gonna be able to sell them. You're not gonna waste the time horizon orbing. It's not worth the money, so always have at least one, and I've chosen Tower for this one. If we were to do our due diligence and go to here and we look at 14s, right? Well, it looks like Misa map is popping off. I don't even, why is that? I don't know. Let's type it in. So we do some research here. Misa, right? Where is that? Misa is, I can't find it. Oh, it's right here. Okay, it's in Tyrans End. Where is that? Tyrans End is, it's right here. Okay, so Misa, it seems, right? Green confidence interval right here, which is good, and it's like jumping up. Well, what's in Tyrans End? Well, we see that in Tyrans End, we have some stuff with Deli. We got some stuff with invasion bosses. We got some stuff with Abyss. We got some stuff with like, the red beasts. Okay. People are farming a ton of red beasts here, it looks like. So Misa, probably really easy to get those, to like find the red beasts. Is very good layout. Fun. I think it's a pretty fun map. Boss is extremely easy. Non-phase boss. So that's probably why it is, if I had to guess, right? It's probably because of great migration. And that is why your Federal Plagued Arachnids, your Ferric Tiger Alphas, and your Krajic Chimrels this league are essentially like free. You just get, I mean, they're like what, like 30C or something? It's kind of a joke, right? So that is why people are doing that for a great migration, I'm guessing. Okay, I've taken this because I'm dumb. Okay, so you can look here and see, this is a learning experience for me too, because I didn't even like think about it. But for 14s, like I know I can sell my towers for like 4 to 5C, right? But if this is right, and this huge jump right here, people are finally getting rid of their Einhar missions. On the right side, I have like 70 of them. I've been using them on other regions because I really like to add it to the maps I actually like, instead of like focus farming that a master I don't like in a region I don't like either. So this Misa map, I might actually favorite this, because look, and here's another like thing that you can do. So if you look at my Misa right here, I don't have anything favorited. It's a tier 4. Is it a 14? It's a 14. So it only conflicts with Tower, but it also gives you more of the map overall, right? Because remember like the rules I talked about, the weighting. So if a Misa, if you favorite 3 times, 30 weighting, right? So let's say, just for use very easy numbers, let's say there's like 30, there's 31 maps, right? And you favorite 3 times, now it's 30 divided by 60, so half your maps will be Misa. Well, that's pretty good, right? Half your maps being the map you want. But if I favorite Tower as well, then 30 plus 30 divided by the other ones, right? So it'd be 30 plus 30 divided by 60 plus 30. Or it might, wait, hold on. But divided by 89 maybe, because it counts that one out. So you know what I mean? Like 2/3 of the maps that drop now that are T14 will be the ones you want. They won't all be Misa, like 50% Misa before, but there'll be 2/3 of them will be split between Misa and Tower, which is still a greater portion of maps you want than before, if that makes sense. So it's okay to favorite conflicting maps in the same tier. You will drop overall more of the ones you want, split between the 2 or 3 or whatever you have favorited. Okay, that should make sense. And that's kind of what I've done with Atoll. You can see Atoll and Park, they are both favorited, meaning they both have 30 weighting, so 60 weighting total divided by 60 plus the rest of the number of T16 maps. So greater portion will be, I'll get less Atolls and Parks overall than if I had only one of them favorited, but more maps overall will be the ones I want. So really, really great strategy there. You can kind of do that however you want. See, like I'm now favoriting Misa because I want to sell those. Okay, I'm not gonna run them. I don't like Einhar, don't like this area. So that's how you can kind of think about it. And then Canyon, one day I will be a Valdo Vincent. I feel like the diplomatic escort is way too good to pass up eventually when I want to farm some ancient orbs and try to get some headers, or when the ancient orb becomes 2 or 3 to 1 exalt very easily. Sellable in bulk. Maybe it's just way too good monies, and maybe I'll like be funding another build. So I just focus farm that, get the monies, and then if I'm not doing Junes there, when I run out of Junes, as you can see, June is my master that I do the most because I love June. It's my favorite thing. When I'm out of them, I'll respec out of these, right? I'll refund these, and then I'll put them in here in these 2 Metamorph nodes. So I'll run Metamorph, Harbinger, and then probably like, I don't know, like whatever else I want to run on there with the Scarabs, and I'll just like pop off in this zone. So that is why I'm kind of like saving canyons for the future, right? Because I don't want to like, you don't want to end up in a spot where like, man, I'm ready to go to that zone. I'm ready to do content and I'm excited. And you look in your map tab and you have like 3 maps. And now you're like, oh man, what do I do? And then you gotta go to the trade website, pathxl.com/trade, and you gotta buy from some dummy like me that's trying to sell it to you for like 1 or 2 C extra, right? And you're like, oh man, I could have just dropped all these in the meantime. So always be looking to the future as to what you're trying to do with the maps, you know, which ones you want to sell, which ones you want to run later, and that's this kind of segues into the next point. So that is what you should think about when favoriting your maps. Next, one little note is that in this zone right here, lots of people are doing this early, and what this node right here means in jewelries, Flexi Jewelries, the best zone by the way, is that when you drop a map, it just has a 10% chance to have some Deli on it. So I'm going to show you some maps here. These are my Deli maps. I just type in Deli, right? Some of these have 20%, some of these have 40%, some of them even have 60%, some of them have 80%, okay? And 80 and 100% are extremely rare. What's going to happen is like as you're dropping these, right? It's just any map that drops has a chance to be covered in Deli. Now, Deli orbs in bulk, even the really bad ones, jewelers, blacksmiths, celestial, whatever, you know, whatever else, right? The really bad ones, they are 10C each in bulk, which is pretty expensive. Okay. And what's even worse about it is not even the money, right? Because you're going to make that money back super easy. What's worse is that you have to trade for them. And if you've ever tried to trade, let's say you're doing 20 or 40% Deli, 20% especially, and you try to trade for these orbs like 1 or 2 at a time, 5, it's a nightmare. Okay. It wastes a lot of time. It's really frustrating. You got to spam so many people if the API is slow, which lately it has been, right? They're all sold, you know, it's a mess. So now, if you're running that zone, you can kind of like just take the free ones, and they can be anything because remember the drop rules apply. So 14 doesn't have to be just in the zone; it can be in here. So now it gets kind of messy, right? Because you're like, wait a minute, tier 14. Now you have all these maps. Like this one's Glenach, this one's Proxima, this one's Tyrans End, this one's Haywark, this one's Valdos. It's like, man, how am I gonna keep up my sextants and my scarabs and like kind of pair it with the skill points that I have in the regions here, you know, whoops. Right, that's also a mess. So one thing that you can do, and especially if you want to sell Deli maps on like TFT, or someone whispers you for a Deli map and they ask you how many, is you can kind of do your part to help out yourself and others that you might be trading to, and use these Horizon Orbs. So Horizon Orbs are about 3 to 1, which is like a little bit more expensive than they usually are, but it makes sense, right? Because they're so powerful this league. And so what you're gonna do is you're probably trying to buy cemeteries again. Cemeteries, good map. Brother Stash. Brother Stash drops in cemetery, not in graveyard. Okay, I'm just gonna mention that really quick, and for no particular reason. Definitely didn't spend an entire day farming graveyard using divination scarabs. Got a lot of unions though. Got a lot of GCPs. Got a lot of unions. So not even mad. Okay, that has nothing to do with this. Let's go to Deli Maps here. So if you're gonna do your part, what I mean by that is you're gonna want to take your Deli orbs, and I've kind of like laid some out. So T14s can become a T14 beach or a city square pretty easily. So you can very easily make all your T14s if you want to with already Deli influence on it into beaches and city squares. These are just the 2 I like that I would actually run, right? Like I would run all jewelries, run Piranhas. Oh, that's awesome, right? Jamble the Piranhas, get the headhunters, get the mirrors, whatever. City square, 3 bosses. Wow, 3 bosses. Harbingers everywhere. Metamorph with 3 boss organs. Wow, that's amazing synergy, right? So like these are the 2 that I would horizon them into. And the reason for doing this is because now if you have all those T14s into one zone, you can now sextant freely and throughout, and there's no like mismatches, right? You just focus farm the zone, you're good to go. Okay. For Valdos and Flexi Jewelries, once again, you're up here. And then for T15, same thing, right? Because there's a distinction between like natties. Like natties is natural like T14s, 15, 16, meaning that you can't just like horizon orb into any T14. If you type in 14, you can't do any of these. There are very natural T14s, meaning that they first appear on the atlas at a certain tier. And in this case, like for the 15s, I really like Ejori's, once again, because I love Prandis. You might like Hayward Camlet. You're farming Harvest. Run these in Harvest. Why not? So like these 2 are really good. And this one also sells really well. And then in the T16, everybody knows T16, a natural is a Burial Chamber. The Burial Chamber has a doctor. You can very, very easily on the T16, because as you go up, you see how many 14s there are, how many 15s there are, and now look how many 16s there are. There's like barely any of them. So you have and those are like all of them, right? Not even the natties. So what that means is that when you use a Horizon Orb on a T16 map that is not a Burial Chambers, it is a 1 in 3 chance, not a 1 in 4 chance, because there's 4 maps there, right? So when you switch, it can't be that same map. So 1 in 3 chance to become burials. Let me just show you here if I have, okay, like park map, right? So if I go like this, 1, 2, okay, so it's very easy to make any of these into barrels, and now I can go back to farming that. So like this happens mostly to you if you're farming barrels. Everyone's farmed barrels at some point, right? You're farming burials, you're dropping the other maps. Now you go back into barrels, you keep farming it, you keep jambling the Prandis, and that zone, if you like that zone, the Metamorphs and the Deli nodes and stuff like that. Okay, so that is one quick little thing for new players who don't know that like a bad map, or what might seem like a bad map, is not that bad. I mean, even in T14, you have natty acid caverns, which is Glenotch Cairns. Now, Glenotch Cairns is good for Beyond, but also surprisingly good for Alba, to the point where like every temple has at least like 4+ tier 3 rooms. Insane for Alba. I would recommend, if you're gonna run Alba, really try to focus Glenotch, okay? And this is a good way to do it if you want to get free Delirium and not waste your Delirium Mars. Remember, every layer of Delirium is about 10C in bulk. It's kind of rough. No one wants to do 100% Delirium, okay? No one that I know who does 100% Delirium actually enjoys it, okay? It's like, it's a mess. Like 20-40% like this, very fun. You don't have to like spend 10 minutes picking up loot. So that's one other thing to get the max value out of your Deli Orbs, and to save you some headache of trading for Deli Orbs. Just like run the maps you have, because it's very frugal, and the returns are very, very good, right? And at least 20% Deli on all of these, so that's pretty good. Okay, next is going to be more of that was another tip there. Next will be kind of a more like esoteric, like what is like time? What is okay, that's a bad explanation. How do I value my time, and like what should I be looking to do, right? So like I said at the beginning of the video, it's very hard for me to answer this question and cover like most of the things, because I don't know everything about the game. I barely know anything about the game. I only know about the things I enjoy playing in the game. And so I think I'll give you an example of how I value my time, and some specific examples of that, and maybe you can carry this onto your gameplay, right? So this gets asked all the time: this or that? Is this better or is that better? Do I do this? Do I buy this or that thing? Do I spec into this or that? And the answer really is whatever gets you playing and having fun faster is the answer. So here's some examples, right? So after stream, I think the reason I don't like trading on stream, even for simple things, is because there's a few things that happen, right? First of all, it's super boring. Second of all, someone snipes your item when there's only one of them, even though it's like a 20C item. That's very frustrating, and people do that all the time, right? Because like just you looking at an item, sometimes like easily, like it's called like the Mathel effect, right? Mathel wants to buy a Hegemonies. Now everyone's buying that Hegemonies. Now you can't buy the Hegemonies until he spams like the next 4 people. Okay, it's like one of those things. So when I'm after stream, what I like to do is I think, what do I want to prepare for, right? What is worth my time to actually not play the game, right? Because I know that if I go run some beach maps, some Burial Chamber maps, I go run some canyon maps, I know that I'm going to make, some Ancient Orbs, some Doctors, some Exalts, some C, like this is a constant flood of currency that's going to go into your currency tab. And I know that. So something that pulls me out of the game needs to have some tangible benefit for you in the future, right? If you're just like wishy-washy thinking like, what kind of mirror item is in in the trade today for foils, and you're playing like a Toxic Rain build, and you're just like looking, and that's pretty bad, right? Because you're not really playing the game. But for me, so I look at my build, and my build's actually very simple when it comes to items. We have like this item called Combs Roots, right? Let me see if I pull this up here. Yeah, so if you look right here, a Combs Roots Uncorrupted is like a 1C item. This item actually, there's 913 of them, in fact. And obviously you could say that, you know, if it's like closer to 200 max life, then, you know, it's more expensive. And yeah, that's true. But I think to myself, well, what am I going to do in the future, right? Like, how do I go about upgrading my character in a fun way, in a deterministic way? And so I think about these boots, these very easy, very common boots. They're not very special, you know, and I think, okay, maybe I want to look at what I can upgrade, right? Because there are only a few places you can get those easy upgrades in terms of like wham bam, I now have an upgrade, right? So one of the places is like gems, right? If you have 20 gems, getting 21-23 gems, 21-20 gems, 20-23 gems, whichever one's the best for you. Divergent, Phantasmal, you know, these alt quality gems. Switching out a gem upgrade is very, very easy. You go to the trade site, you buy it, great. That is definitely worth your time. Everybody knows this. I don't need to talk about it, right? Getting better rolls on your items, that's fantastic as well, right? And then in a sense, crafting items, which I'll talk about in a second. So I think to myself, what are the easiest pieces that I might want to upgrade, craft on, or maybe resell later, right? And for me, it's the boots, right? And the boots are they're just such an easy item that I go and I look at this. So I go, all right, so how can I upgrade them? Well, I want to double corrupt because I know that when you double corrupt, there's a chance to brick it or lose the item. And I go, okay, well, is the item easy to replace? Because double corrupting and upgrading your item in this way is really, really fun if it's easily replaceable. This is why if you use a lot of uniques, I always recommend people just corrupt something you're wearing, because if it's a unique, you can easily get it back, right? A 6-link, who cares? You buy it, you 6-link it, you get it back. Right? Like some of the rare items, like if you brick it, oh man, that feels really bad. So like be careful with that. But with unique items, you can always get another one and get it back to the state that it was in. So that's why I think about how can I upgrade these boots. So 1C, okay, great. I want an enchant on it. I want 10% move speed, but I don't want to do lab. So I'm going to buy it with the move speed on it. When I search for this and I go, 10% move speed is not really that hard of a enchant to get. It's not 10% penetration when you haven't killed recently, right? So I look at these boots and I go, what the like, are you serious right now? Like 6 exalts, this is minimum. This is like the only one. I haven't searched for any life rolls, right? So I'm like, holy shit, dude. Like that is preposterous, because I know for a fact that I can pay a premium of a couple exalts to have someone go do this for me, because I don't want to run lab. So something that's worth my time is I might set up a live search for these boots, so that, and bookmark it so that I can see if a pair for like 2 exalts, 3 exalts comes up. And then also, like if it's lower life, it might be more cheap, because you can just divine these, right? It's a 150 to 200 roll, so it's a 1 in it's like a 1 in 5 divine to get 190 plus. You don't need them to be perfect. And then this becomes fuel for the Alba Temple when you run Glenotch Cairns, because you can farm a lot of corruption chambers there. And then if you do get a like the expected return is very high, because you do get a move speed corruption after you already have an enchant, or you get a dodge corruption, then they become incredibly expensive for self cursors. So cheap to buy, like you have to know that it's like cheap to make, right? The 1C base cost plus the divine, and then paying someone to enchant them, or going to enchant them yourself. So what I would say in this case, like you could be like, well, why don't I just buy some of these 1C ones, right? Buy some of the 1C ones, right? Armor scrap them, divine them to 190 plus, and then just go enchant them myself in the lab that gives 6 enchants. Because those gifts of the god, as a gift of the goddess, these new offerings, they are so cheap right now. Okay, they are like a few C, and you can go do this. And if this sells, and I'm guessing it will, because people are like playing self curse now at this point in the league, and also there's like 3 of them. So you could make a lot of money doing this, right? And because people want them to double corrupt later and stuff. So this is like a commodity item, but let's tie this back to how do we value our time, right? Because this is an example of like, I've used what I know about how I value my time. If I don't want to run lab, I know that the main item is 1C. I know the divine to get a good life is easy. So I'm like, you know what? Should I just buy these right from my corruption chamber and try to corrupt? If I know I have to have these now for my corruption chambers later, I don't want to be like scrambling to buy them later when I don't know if they'll be available. So for me, I go, okay, I know that I can just pay someone later to do this for me for cheaper than 6 exalts. So for me, I'm going to save the time. I'm not going to buy these, and I'm just going to put a little note on my notepad, be like, hey, buy enchant carry service or do it myself. And then that's how I value my time for these 6 exalts. Okay, that's kind of a little thing there. Another thing is like, I guess crafting. So if we take a look at crafting, I'm currently using a gold. Now, the reason I want to craft a helmet is because a lot of people aren't using the gold. The gold is really expensive, and it's not even like the best option for everyone. It's just like a fun item. So maybe I want to craft a hubris, a temp chains hubris that has some conqueror mods on it that could be really good for like a global, like generic self cursor, right? Who doesn't want to click on all the shrines on the map, right? They're hard to see, whatever. It's annoying. So then I go, well, what is worth my time, right? I go, can I think of the mods I want? And so it's worth my time to see if I can just straight up buy an item or craft it, right? So how do we do this? Well, the way that you would do that is you would go first find an item like this. So you look at this item. It's an eye level 86. Unfortunately, it's not eye level 85 to cut out that +3 minions roll. And but it's good enough, right? It's fine. It's like, you know, barely any different. It's 15 exalts. It has the temp chains enchant. It has the warlord influence on it. Now that's a 1.2 exalted orb to put warlords on this thing, and it's already got the power charge. And then what you know from this is that the like the of conquest is a suffix, and that's a warlord's thing. For whatever reason, warlord doesn't show up. Like you know, like redeemers is like redeemers and redemption and stuff like that, right? Like crusaders of the crusade. This one is like of conquest warlords, which can confuse some people because they might not think that this is an influence, which it is. So you could very easily, if you only want the power charge, not elevated, you could just easily keep prefixes, real suffixes, right? And so I know this is a good base to craft on. If I want to elevate, I mean, if I elevate this versus that, I mean, whatever, right? So I know that this is a decent helm, but oh my god, 15 exalts, right? So in my chat, I sometimes get asked a lot like, hey, should I buy X item or Y item? Should I craft it myself or should I buy it? This watchstone, I can alt spam it. Craft Exalt tells me, I don't know, 14,000 alterations versus buying it for 25 exalts, right? What is worth my time? So I'll try to tie it in with this because I was looking for a helmet either like raw or halfway there. And this one's kind of halfway there if I want to put Shaper on this with maybe some nearby enemies have like -6 and then elevate that later, right? So if we look at this, 15 exalts for Hubris, I need eye level 85 plus. The way you do this is make sure you look at your Craft of Exile. So when we look here, if I later on want to put -9, you know, Fire BV is pretty popular, right? I know that is an 85 minimum weighting. I know that I know that some of these other rolls are, you know, you can look at whatever other rolls you want for the minimum thing. So I know that it's it is like the right item level and it has the power charge, which I really, really want. So then we're like, okay, so is it worth my time then to spend 15 exalts when I could just buy and craft it and use TFT to harvest craft and all this other stuff? Well, let's go look at the bases. So if we go here and we look at the bases, right? So all I did is I typed in a non-unique hubris circlet with a temp chains enchant, right? And here's what we got. So we have one for 4 exalts, but it's eye level 83. That's really unfortunate. We have one for eye level 81 for 12 exalts. And then look at this one, 86 for 13 exalts. So, and this one, look at these rolls. Like these are just like regular generic, someone threw like an ouch on this or something, right? So this one's 13 exalts for now. Right now it's 11 in the morning. So it's pretty safe to say that like, yeah, there might be some more later, but you don't really know. And so I look at this and I go, okay, 13 exalts. It doesn't have an influence. Let's say I were to add an influence, it'd be an exalted orb. Let's say I'm rolling it like it's barely any different than the one that is that's kind of like primed, right? And like this rarity here doesn't matter, okay? So we will look at this one and go, wow, that's barely any different. So then you should definitely buy this one, right? And then because it is not worth my time to buy a base and try to get my most wanted affix, which is power charge, myself, because they removed the crit tag from it for some reason. And yeah, if you look right here, they removed the crit tag. So like it's, I don't know, I mean, it's kind of hard to get. So so I go, okay, for like a premium of like 1 exalt, I'm just gonna buy this one, right? And I have saved myself the trade of the base helmet. I saved myself the trade of maybe the Crusaders Exalted Orb. I saved some TFT going out of game into a Discord, by the way, to try to find trades, whispering my friend, using my streamer advantage to ask my chat, be like, hey, please sell me these crafts, and then try to get it when this one saves me, this one here saves me like so many hours of time. And so yeah, so in this situation, you know, you would buy that helmet for your upgrades, and then and I have it's right here. This is actually the helmet right here. So that's another example of like when you are making gear upgrade decisions, you really have to think about all the things that go into getting to that level of like, how can I reach this stage of that item? How can I upgrade that item? And when you ask yourself, is it worth? Should I get this or this? A lot of time it comes down to, if something's going to save you like 5 hours, 2 hours, whatever, you're probably going to go with that option. Okay. And sometimes it's not even a question of like, how good is this? It's just like, how much time does it save me? And because every like 10 minutes, 15, 20, however long it takes you to run a map, if you're IGN reviewer, 3 hours to run a map, however long it takes, right, to do a thing is what you're kind of like weighing your options against. Okay. Time is a huge thing in this, to the point where I spend like I try to be really efficient after stream to get all my stuff done, and still it's crazy how much time PoE takes with all the research and like finding out like different pieces. So that is another example of like how to value your time when you're looking at upgrades for your character. I don't know if this really helped at all. It's kind of confusing, right? As I'm talking through, I realize it's kind of confusing because it's supposed to be a new player video, but you can kind of apply these concepts to anything you're upgrading: gear, skill tree points, watch stones, all that stuff. These are all things that you can apply. Use Craft of Exile, use the resources available to you. And that's pretty much the video, I guess. And if you guys have any questions about like, is it worth, okay? Should I do this or that? I stream every day on twitch.tv/cutedog_ in the evenings, US time, and you guys can ask me those questions there. So hope you guys enjoyed the video. And I'll see you guys later. Thanks for watching my video. Okay, bye guys, bye.